From Cagayan State University to the home of our dear treasures, the Cagayan Museum Historical Research Center, a place where our culture and identity sleeps, a place where the soul of Cagayan resides.
The Cagayan Valley has been a vital area for settlement and trade for many centuries. Archaeological excavations such as at Nagsabaran and Solana have uncovered porcelain pieces buried with the dead, demonstrating the long-standing connection between trade, cultural practices, and everyday life in the valley. These finds reveal that Cagayan was part of a large network of Asian trade and cultural exchange long before European colonization.
Between the 15th and 17th centuries, during the Ming Dynasty and early Spanish contact, trade expanded to include porcelains from Thailand and Vietnam. These imports increased especially when Chinese exports declined, showing the area's importance as a trade hub. There are three historical values of Ibanag porcelain tradeware. First, porcelain in Ibanag burials shows historical value as proof of trade and culture. Second, Lalo and Nagsabaran sites reveals porcelain as prestige goods for wealth and status. And lastly, Laurente Cave shows earlier use of pottery in burials since the New Stone Age.
Do you know that there are several beliefs that the Ibanag people had? According to our research, they believe that the death is not the end of existence, but rather the transition to the next life, because they hold a holistic view where spiritual and physical realms are intertwined, with the souls continuing to exist after the body's death.
Additionally, they built burial sites close to their homes and buried personal belongings with the dead in grave sites because they believed that those items were necessary for the deceased's use and comfort in the afterlife, ensuring a complete and prosperous eternal existence. Moreover, porcelain items obtained through trade became an important symbols of wealth, social status, and respect. These were placed in graves as offerings to help the spirits ensure a peaceful journey.
These practices emphasize their spiritual belief that the dead continued to be part of the community and deserve care and respect even beyond death.
Did you know that porcelain is also called China? This name traces back to its origins in China, where it became a treasured commodity in international trade for its exotic beauty. Beyond being valuable trade goods, porcelain pieces showcase masterful craftsmanship, delicate forms, vibrant glazes, and intricate designs, admired across Asia and beyond. Among the Ibanag people, porcelain pieces were placed in burials for symbols of wealth, respect, and spiritual protection.
Porcelain and burial practices was more than just decorative. It was a meaningful offering that showed respect and love for the deceased. It reflected the Ibanag's strong belief in maintaining a connection between the living and the dead, ensuring that loved ones were provided for beyond their earthly life. Porcelains also signified social status and prestige. Wealthier families often placed more valuable items in graves to demonstrate their importance. These objects were believed to have protective qualities, guarding the spirit on its journey. The practice of including porcelain, similar to the Filipino pabaon tradition, reinforced cultural values of remembrance, care, respect, and spiritual protection, helping maintain harmony between the material and spiritual worlds.
Okay. First question. May alam po ba kayo sa history ng porcelain tradeware o yung mga tradeware na tina-trade sa burial sites ng iba na?
Actually, yes, meron. Kasi, ayon sa kwento nun ng lola ko, is yung like mga porcelain wares daw is like ginagamit nilang tina-trade and parang status symbol para sa kanila. So, back then, yung lolo ko is Chinese and my lola is an Ibanag from Apari. So, when my lolo was courting my lola, he used the technique, which is the status symbol, which is the porcelain wares and other items coming from China. Para, syempre, mayaman na yun lang, hindi mo pa papatulan, di ba? So, yeah, parang status symbol ng mga Ibanag yung porcelain wares.
Okay. So, next question. What is the importance of porcelain tradeware in our society during ancient times? May mga sinisimbolize ba sila? Like, well, ganun.
Yeah, actually, parang siya na yung status symbol mo. Sabi nga ng lola ko noon, if you have 12 silver spoons and 12 plates, you're actually rich na. Sabi nila, milyonaryo ka na nun kung meron kang ganun. And, binasag ko ang mga plates na yun.
So, milyonaryo na kayo.
Oo.
So, nakakita ka na ba nung porcelain traders?
Unfortunately, hindi ko na naabutan yung lolo ko. Yung lolo ng lolo ko, kasi, syempre, dedo na siya by the time ng mga Japanese, gano'n.
So, may mga influence ba itong porcelain traders sa culture natin?
Actually, yes. Hanggat ngayon nga, yung mga porcelain wares na yan, ginagawa naming decorations. Parang, until now, nagiging status symbol pa rin siya na may mga magagandang historical items na pinapakita yung cultural significance ng mga iba nandito.
Okay. Have you had any personal experience sa paggamit ng porcelain tradewares noon?
Sabi ko kanina, nabasag ko yung mga yun. Ginamit ko, nilaro-laro ko ng bata ko. But when it comes for dining, yung purposes niya na what it actually used for, actually hindi namin ginagamit yun. Kasi like parang meron siyang significance na talagang mahal siya, hindi mo siya talagang pwedeng gamitin for normal use.
So since may experience kayo, ano ang dahilan kung bakit isinasama or inilalagay ang porcelain sa libing noon? Like, anong connection dun sa burial sites or sa libing?
Yung significance niya, sabi ng lola ko noon, if meron kang porcelain wares, sabi nga nila, ano yung hawak-hawak mo ngayon, ano yung mga kagamitan mo ngayon, kailangan isama mo din yun. So, traditionally, for us Ibanags, and also for the Itawes, ginagawa nila is, yung mga kagamitan ng mga tao na namatay, sinasama namin sa libing. So, like, parang after niya pumunta sa afterlife, meron siyang gagamitin pa rin.
So, up until now ba, pinapractice niya pa rin yung paglagay ng porcelain tradewares or hindi?
Actually, it depends kung yung taong yun, nagpo-possess siya ng porcelain wares, of course, isasama namin. Pero kung like normal items lang, in this modern world, yung mga items na yun lang yung isasama talaga na.
The Ibanag people in Cagayan Valley are known for their deep spiritual beliefs and traditions. For them, death was never the end, but a journey into another life because they believe that there is afterlife. They built burial sites close to their homes and placed personal belongings with their dead loved ones. Ibanags believe that some offerings would bring comfort and completeness in the afterlife. Among these offerings, porcelain tradewares held a special meaning, obtained through trade. It was not only a symbol of wealth and status, but also a symbol of love, respect, and spiritual protection. Every piece placed in a grave spoke of care for the deceased loved ones and the hope for their peaceful journey beyond. These practices reminds us that even centuries ago, the Ibinag carried the same truth we hold today. Some still do the said belief and traditions that love and memory continue even beyond life. And that is the timeless legacy of the Ibanag people.
Alam niyo ba na minsan ang Cagayan ay naging tahanan ng mga higanteng hayop? Bago pa man umusbong ang ating lipunan, bago pa man mahubog ang kultura at kaalaman, may mga dambuhalang hayop na malayang gumagala sa kapatagan. Mga pangil, mga buto, at mga yapak na naiwan, ngayon ay tahimik na nakahimlay sa loob ng isang museo sa Tugigaraw. Dito sa Cagayan Museum na iwan ang alaala ng nakaraan, mga fossils ng pygmy elephants, rhinoceros at stegodons. Ang pygmy elephant ay mas maliit kaysa sa karaniwang elepante. Ang Philippine rhinoceros naman ay mapagtanggol sa kanilang teritoryo at higit na mas maliit kaysa sa mga rhinoceros sa ibang panig ng mundo. Sa kabilang dako, ang malahiganting stegodon naman ay may mahabang tusks at ngipin na siyang angkop sa pagkain ng matitigas na dahon at damo. Ang kanilang mga buto ay nakahimlay sa piling ng mga dalubhasa, maingat na pinapanatili, inaalagaan at patuloy na pinag-aaralan. Ngunit sa kabila ng lahat ng kaalaman, nananatili pa rin ang maraming tanong sa ating mga mamamayan. Katulad ng, saan nga ba sila natagpuan? At paano sila pinapangalagaan?
Lahat ng fossils sa may mainland Cagayan, nakuha ko sa isang limestone formation. It's called Aridon Mesa Formation. So, kung may limestone kasi, or may fossil bed, ibig sabihin, it came from an ancient river. So, imagine po natin noon, ang Cagayan, half of the land is covered by river. So, maraming fossils po ang pwedeng makuha dun sa part na yun. So, yung Cagayan River talaga literally, yun po yung biggest, largest river during 50 million years ago. Hanggang tumataas kasi yung lupa. Kaya paliit ng paliit yung ganyan ng river, doors ng river. So, ito, nakuha sila sa mga ancient river beds. Kung pupunta kayo sa Tuaw, may taga-Tuaw sa inyo. Kung punta ka dun sa may Tuaw View Deck, dun po nakuha mo silang fossils ng Cagayan. So yung Tuaw View Deck, kung makikita nyo yung plains po dun, isa po siyang ancient riverbed na during the time of the dinosaurs. So yung mga fossils na to, during the 1973, so yung start pa po, yung pagka-establish ng Cagayan Museum, nasa pangangalaga na namin ito. Kasi during that time, hindi pa na ipapatayo ang National Museum Cagayan Satellite Office sa may Peña Blanca. So kami yung unang nabigyan ng ganyan niya, naging caretaker ng mga fossils na ito. So yung mga fossils na ito, nabukay po nila Otley Bayer, yung mga unang mga archaeologists po sa National Museum, including po yung una naming museum director, si Israel Cabanilla from Apari. So, may permit siya to excavate. So, yung mga to, legal yung mga to. Kasi makikita nyo rin dyan, yung photo dyan, sa silhouette, si Ferdinand Di Marcos at yung kanyang asawa, si Imelda. So, kasama yung Cagayan Museum team sa pag-excavate ng mga to. Yung na-display, kasalukuyan, ay yung mga fossils ng mga elephants. Distant cousin sila ng mga mainland Asian elephant from mainland Asia. And the stegodon. Stegodon are parang elepante na features din, pero hindi siya matatawag na elepante. Pero parang elepante siya. Then, yung Rhinoceros philippinensis, isang Philippine rhino during the Great Ice Age. Yan po yung kasalukuyang naka-display. Mostly ng mga Cagayan artifacts nandun po sa National Museum. Kasi ongoing, every year kasi yung excavation nila. Regarded rin ang Cagayan as the archaeological capital of the Philippines. So, dun sa may Aridon Mesa Formation, starting from Kalinga, then sa may southwest part ng Cagayan, up to Santo Niño, Caire. So, ginaganyan namin yung humidity niya. Kailangan na naglalaro lang sa 57 or 60 to 50 or 60 to 45 lang yung humidity levels niya. Makikita nyo rin naman dyan yung sa mga numbers dyan. Pati yung pag-re-regulate ng humidity niya, nandun po may dehumidifier kami na dun sa may side ng airport. So every day po namin or daily namin yan ino-on to laruin yung humidity levels niya. Kasi kung masyadong mababa yung humidity niya, nagka-crumble yung nilalagay namin na preservation na materials. Kung masyadong mataas naman, so matubig yung hangin, may chance rin na ma-dilute yung nilagay rin namin na preservatives. So, ganun, dapat kailangan na naglalaro lang sa between 60 to 50 yung humidity levels namin. Hindi na namin siya binabrush kasi naka-encase naman na siya sa glass. So, binabrush lang namin siya kung expose, lalo na kung kaganyan, kakakuha lang sa kanya, kaka-extract. Yun, ipabrush namin, nilinisan namin ng ganyan. Then, papaliguan namin siya ng solution na glue at tubig. So, yun yung i-spray sa kanya. Then, yung mga iba, yung mga high grade kasi na fossils, ito kasi low maintenance. Yung mga high maintenance, katulad ng ganyan, at dapat every month may maintenance check.
Sa bawat batang tumitingala, sa bawat estudyanteng nakanganga, ang kanilang matay puno ng tanong, ganito pala ang nakaraan? Ano pa kaya ang nakabuon sa ilalim ng ating bayan? Sa mga buto ng pygmy elephants, rhinoceros at stegodons, naiwan ang kwento ng mga panahon. Mga kwentong hindi naglalaho, mga laala na mundong hindi na natin matatanaw muli. At habang patuloy silang binabantayan ng mga siyentipiko, tayo naman pinapaalalahanan na ang kasaysayan ay hindi lamang sa papel o larawan. Minsan ito'y nakabaon sa lupa, naghihintay na muling mahukay upang maituro sa atin kung ano sila at saan sila nagmula. Kung kaya't hinihimok namin kayo na tutulan ang anumang mapanirang gawain laban dito at magkaisa upang alagaan at ingatan ang mga labi at kwento na siyang mapapakinabangan ng mga susunod na henerasyon. Sapagkat ang tunay na yaman ay hindi lang makikita sa kasalukuyan, kundi sa paraan ng ating pagtanaw at pagprotekta sa ating pinagmulan.
Before skyscrapers, long before colonization, the people of Lalo in Cagayan were already shaping clay into elegant pottery and wearing jewelry that reflected beauty and status. Today, we rediscover these treasures, reminders of a culture that thrived more than 4,000 years ago. Lalo, which sits along the Cagayan River in northern Luzon, is home to some of the largest shell maiden sites in Southeast Asia. These ancient mounds of shells, dating as far back as 2000 BC, contain invaluable traces of how our ancestors lived, from what they ate to the tools and ornaments they crafted.
In Lalo, Cagayan, archaeologists uncovered treasures buried for thousands of years, pottery and jewelry that reveal the artistry of our ancestors. From the depth of the megapit shell maiden rose brilliant red slip pottery, some plain, some made with bold designs. Over time, the artistry evolved into intricate decorated jars and mysterious elegance of black pottery, each piece marking a new chapter in history. But alongside the pots were jewels of the past, clay pendants, stone beads, and ornaments that adorned early Filipinos, revealing a love for beauty, identity, and craftsmanship.
Hi everyone, my name is Adrian C. Guzman II and I am here right now with the staff of the museum. Please state your name po.
My name is Badlak Ambrain. I'm from Cagayan Museum.
Thank you po. We have 3 questions we would like to ask. Are you ready po?
Yes, I am ready.
First, what makes the pottery excavated in Lalo unique?
The pottery the pottery that they excavated in Lalo is unique in many ways. These are different from the potteries that they excavated in the other parts of the Philippines, which have more intricate designs, which means that it came from a newer generation. It's still early, but it's newer. This is the manifestations that the Austronesians came here in Cagayan first. Look at how it is simple. It is simple because it is the earliest forms. That is the way that they are unique, and they feature different styles. There are smaller ones and there are larger ones. And look at that, the medallion. It is not made from anything like wood or jade or anything. It is made from clay. I think these are the few artifacts that I have seen that it is made out of clay, and this really screams Austronesian.
Thank you po. How interesting that we have these such artifacts here in Cagayan Museum. Now next, how these artifacts impact our Philippine history.
Knowing that Cagayan has a rich archaeological what do you call this now? The Cagayan has a rich archaeological. It has a vibrant archaeological place. Okay, the Cagayan has many archaeological treasures, and one is the Nagsabaran site, which features the shell maidens and the earliest evidence of rice cultivation brought by the Austronesians. We also found dog burial site there, which means that the Austronesians are friends with dogs back then. The question again was... and to answer that question, the importance of preserving these artifacts is letting the whole world know that the missing links are to be found in Cagayan.
Thank you po. Lastly, what can you say to our fellow Filipino on how important it is to preserve these artifacts and preserve our Philippine history itself?
They often say that history repeats itself in a negative way. I want to change that. History does not repeat itself in a bad way. We have to study about the past. We have to learn the history and correct whatever the wrong it may contribute to the future generations. And learning the history is tantamount to finding the missing links. And it further supplements the education system and making our nation stronger, because because learning the culture and the history of the Philippines makes a person have the willpower to strengthen his Filipino ideology. He will have a stronger sense of identity. And another is, when we find such artifacts, let us not keep it. Let us tell the museums that they need to see this so that they can study and preserve this. If you stumble upon a piece of gold that looks ancient, what would you do? You report it to the proper authorities. Do not keep it, because keeping it is tantamount to robbing the knowledge of the future generations. You're basically robbing them of their culture.
Thank you for answering our questions. We really appreciate your cooperation, and
the most remarkable discoveries from Lalo is its earthenware pottery. These pieces, carefully shaped by hand, often carry a red slip finish, a reddish coating that not only protected the vessels. Many shards also display impressed and incised designs made by pressing or carving pieces into the wet clay before firing. These decorations reveal the creativity and symbolic expressions of early Filipinos, and they are very similar to designs found across the Cagayan Valley during the Neolithic period. But these pots are more than just art. They were used for storing food and water, cooking meals, and even for rituals. Imagine, every vessel you see here once had a role in someone's daily life thousands of years ago. Archaeologists have unearthed more than 21,000 pottery fragments from Lalo alone, ranging from shallow bowls to large jars. Each fragment is a small piece of a bigger picture, helping us understand how our ancestors lived, worked, and expressed themselves. These 4,000-year-old vessels prove that long before colonization, the people of Lalo already lived with artistry and sophistication. Now, to learn about another set of treasures that speak of status, beauty, and spirituality, the ancient jewelry of Lalo, let's hear from Speaker 3.
Good day, everyone. I am Crystal C. Felipe from the Group 3. Did you know that the largest shell-maiden sites in Southeast Asia are actually in Cagayan? It is the Lalo shell-maiden sites where they discovered the Camaranan medallion. During the Neolithic period, around 7,000 years ago, in Cagayan, the Camaranan medallion, a clay pendant, are awarded to soldiers who exhibited extraordinary power and leadership skills in their tribes. The medallion was found in 1972 in an excavation site at Magapit, Lalo, Cagayan. It is excavated at the Lalo shell-maiden sites along the Cagayan River by the team of Mr. Israel Cabanilla, the first Cagayan Museum curator. This day, medallion was initially said to be a status symbol that is only worn by the Camaranan or the noble ruling class of early as
Artifacts are time machines, a piece of pottery, a simple bead, a carved pendant, and each one carries voices from thousands of years ago. They remind us that who we are today is built on the creativity, struggles, and dreams of those who came before us. In places like Lalo, Cagayan, these discoveries remind us that identity is not built overnight. It is rooted in centuries of tradition and innovation. By safeguarding these treasures, we don't just honor the past, we strengthen our sense of who we are today and ensure that future generations can continue to learn, reflect, and take pride in the culture that shaped us.
These ancient artifacts from Lalo, preserved for over 4,000 years, are not just artifacts. They are stories, traditions, and memories of the early Laloqueños. They show us where we came from and why our history matters today. As the saying goes, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makararating sa paroroonan. These artifacts remind us to honor our roots as we move towards the future. They teach us to value heritage, culture, and identity, and they challenge us to protect them for the next generation.
Ang kultura, tradisyon at kasaysayan ang humuhubog sa pagkakakilanlan ng mga Pilipino. Hindi lamang ito simbolo ng minamahal nating bayan, kundi alaala ng ating mga ninuno na patuloy nagbibigay saysay at kulay sa ating kasalukuyan. Sa bawat piraso ng yaman, maging ito'y etnograpiko o liturgical, nakatago ang mga kwento ng ating pinagmulan.
Ang Cagayan Museum and Historical Research Center ay halimbawa ng isang Islamic UNESCO na preserve ng mga yamang galing sa mga ninuno. Isa sa mga nilalaman nito ay ang mga ethnographic at liturgical na mga kagamitan. Sa bandang ito, makikita ang iba sa mga halimbawa ng mga ethnographico kagamitan. Tulad na lamang nitong kasuotan na ginagamit ng mga agta o negrito groups. Sa Cagayan, nahati sila sa tatlong grupo. Ang isigiran agta ng northwestern part ng Cagayan, ang labing agta ng central Cagayan, at ang dupanigan agta naman ng northern Sierra Madre.
Ang kabuhayan namin dito po ay nangangalap po kami ng mga puso, kamote, papaya, at saging. Yun lang po taga ng kabuhayan namin dito sa Haduan.
Ito naman sa parteng ito, makikita rin ang Mengal attire. Mengals came from the elite social class in pre-colonial Cagayan, cultural rulers and warriors within the Ibanag and Itawis group.
Ayon sa mga accounts na nakita namin sa research, hindi ito yung tunay na pananamit ng mga agta. May patterns minsan at may iba't ibang kulay. Siguro patterns like checkered. So makikita nyo, may kanya-kanyang distinction din. Kahit may pagkakaparehas, kahit may similarities, may konting distinction din para maiba sila sa grupo nila. Like Itawid, ang Itawid hindi siya gumagamit ng yellow na dye. Yun yung rason dun, para hindi sila masabing iba na. Okay.
Bukod sa mga kasuotan ng iba't ibang pangkat etniko, makikita rin dito ang mga kagamitang ginagamit nila sa pag-aani, pangangaso at sa pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay, tulad na lamang ng mga basket, pana, clay stove, banga, lupit at mga panangga.
At sa kabilang banda naman ng museo, makikita ang iba't ibang uri ng mga patalim at sandata na ginagamit sa pag-aani at pangangaso. Kabilang dito ang pana. Ang mga panang ito ay galing pa sa 3 grupo ng Agta-Agta sa Cagayan, mga magagaling at maalam sa pagdisenyo at paghulma ng mga metal. Bawat pana ay ginagawa base sa kung ano ang panggagamitan at ang target nito. Ang mga palasong ito ay tinatawag na pana ng grupong Labin at Isigiran at pangal naman kung tawagin ito ng Dupanigan Agta.
These arrows are made using materials that can be found everywhere: a wood, feather, and a metal, which are fashioned and sharpened based on how they will be used. The Isigiran arrow has 5 parts. First is the arrowhead, known as mayan, padda, or sibulu, crafted from metal, sharpened and shaped into a triangle. Next is the siba or siwa, which are on both sides of the arrowhead. The palka or the first shaft segment is where the arrowhead is attached. And the body of the arrow is called urungan, or the shaft made from a thin straight bamboo. And at the end of the arrow is what we call a lock or fletching, the feathered part of the arrow. Ang panang ito'y ginagamit ng mga Isigiran Agta sa pangangaso ng mga wild animals sa kanilang teritoryo, ang Sierra Madre Mountains na nasa northern part ng Cagayan. Kabilang dito ang baboy ramo at mga ibon na siyang isa sa pinantataguyod nila para mabuhay.
Kung ang etnograpikong kagamitan ay sumasalamin ng kanilang pamumuhay, meron din tayong liturhikal na kagamitan na nagpapakita naman ng kaugnayan nila sa Diyos at kanilang pananampalataya. Halika natin ng iba't ibang halimbawa tulad ng mga salmo. Dito ay isang disenyo sa simbahan. At ito naman ay damit at kagamitan ng pati. Ngayon, pupunta naman tayo dito. Makikita natin ang isang kampana.
Ang kampanang ito ay nagmula sa Holy Guardian Angels Parish mula sa bayan ng Tuaw. Ang kampanang ito ay dinala dito sa Cagayan Museum pagkatapos magkaroon ng malakas na lindol sa bayan ng Tuaw. Hindi lamang ito tansong metal na lumilikha ng tunog. Ang bawat pagtunog ng kampana ay nagsisilbing paalala ng pananampalataya, pagtawag sa pagkakaisa ng pamayanan at pagsisimula ng sagradong ritual. Sa loob ng simbahan, ginagamit ito sa pinakabanal na bahagi ng seremonya bilang hudyat ng presensya ng Diyos. Kaya't ang kampana ay hindi lamang isang bagay na gamit sa simbahan, kundi isang buhay na patunay ng kasaysayan at pananampalataya na iniwan sa atin ng mga Kastila. These treasures of the past keep us rooted in our lupang sinilangan. They serve as reminders of the importance of honoring the pathways that shape our cultural practices,
sacred traditions, values, and creations. Above all, they pay tribute to those who came before us, the pioneers who made this possible, whose legacy is truly one of a kind. Through them, knowledge and traditions have been safeguarded and passed on. Today, in the continued preservation and appreciation of our ethnographics and liturgical items, we do more than protect objects. We strengthen our culture, deepen our history, and affirm our faith, our bond with the Creator, and our solidarity with our fellow Filipinos. Like an arrow pointing us back to our roots, and a bell whose sound echoes across generations, these pieces reminds us that our heritage is not only alive, but also worth cherishing and preserving.
Sa hilagang bahagi ng Pilipinas, matatagpuan ang Cagayan, isang lalawigan na hindi lang sagana sa likas na yaman, kundi maging sa kasaysayan na pamana ng pananampalataya. Narito ang mga simbahan na ang mga kolonyal na altar na yari sa kahoy at mga kasuotan na dohikal, naglihikal na gintong kordap, siyang simbolo ng pananampalataya ng Kristyanismo na dinala ng mga Espanyol.
Katolisismo sa Cagayan Valley ay nagsimula lamang noong 1595 o 1596. Bagamat maraming tutol na residente, hindi naman nagtagal ay unti-unti nilang nakuha ang tiwala at mga relihiyosong kalooban ng mga Cagayanos.
Church na nasira po noong 1949 dahil sa isang semen po ito malunsod na lindol. Buti po, nakasurvive po yung altar mayor niya na 3 palapag. So yung naka-display po dito today, yung second floor niya lang.
This altar comes from the ruins of the Tuwao Church, which was destroyed in the year 1949 by a powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Luckily, this altar survived, preserving its 3 floors of intricate craftsmanship. These wooden elements were crafted by Chinese artisans.
Dati po siyang may kulay. Kasi hindi po daw kontento yung makapalit sa isang blanco na canvas. So,
according to some accounts, these items once shimmered with golden accents, which were later stripped away and sold during the war to help in the rehabilitation of the church.
Sa kasalukuyan, wala na po yung Tuwao Church kasi ruins na nga siya. Pinalitan na po siya ng bago. Yun na po yung Holy Angels Church na. Yung nakasurvive na sa church yung first floor ng bell tower niya. Punta na tayo dito sa may vestments na may gold. This is as 18th century heraldry na according to our museum praetor, dito ko nilalagay yung mga ancient mga religious sacraments para ibalot po. Kaya makikita po dyan, ito po yung mga palaging sira kasi ito po yung palaging hinahawakan ito. Makikita ko po yung mga umiilang-ilang po dyan, 14 karat gold po siya, na pwede pong nanggaling sa gold po natin, traditional gold po natin, at may mga gold strings naman tayo. So yan. Yung centerpiece po ng item na ito or artifact, yung log of God. Makikita dyan yung ulo ng tupa, tapos yung tupa.
This humeral veil dates back to the 18th century. It is a liturgical vestment woven with golden embroidery featuring sacred religious motifs and symbols. Traditionally, it is worn over the shoulders, wrapping down the front during important ceremonies. It is also used to cover sacred items such as the chalice, ciborium, and other vessels.
The top portion, called the capital, features stylized scrolls and foliage. This likely comes from an old wooden structure at the Church of Holy Guardian Angels in Tuwao, Cagayan, or from furniture like a retablo or pulpit.
May mga bumangela features, yung mga iba po may mga pineapple features, sunflower features. Yan po, mga important na flowers sila or mga plants for the Catholic faith. Katulad po ng pineapple, symbolizes resurrection, purity, blah blah blah. Sa ito, dati po siyang may kulay kasi hindi po daw kontento yung mga palit.
It reflects Spanish-era Philippine church art, combining European and local design elements. The adjacent wooden panel shows repeated floral and geometric patterns typically of this hybrid style. Due to multiple renovations after earthquake damage, these pieces are considered historically valuable. The carvings represent a decorative art form merging European religious motifs with indigenous craftsmanship. The object in the image appears to be an intricately carved wooden panel, likely used as an altar piece, retablo, or church decoration, which often feature religious iconography and floral motifs. In the Philippines, such decorative elements in Catholic churches are commonly referred to as retablos or relief carvings. These carvings are often found in churches and chapels and can depict saints, biblical scenes, or decorative patterns.
Nakikita po dito yung Dominican cross sa may centerpiece. May mga kulay po siya. Dito yung red na tayo. So, may kung papailawan din siya ng UV light, may magiging po yung mga former na ties na.
The wooden altars and the gold vestments are not just old things from the past. They are part of our story. The altars show the faith of our ancestors, built with their hands and hearts. The vestments, with their golden threads, remind us of the beauty and devotion in our traditions. These are the treasures that connect us to who we are. They tell us where we came from and what we must care for. As we end this story, may we always remember to value and protect our heritage, so that the next generations can also see, learn, and be inspired by it.
Kay gandang pagmasdan, kay sarap pakinggan, ang mga kwento ng pamanang iniwan ng ating mga ninuno. Sa bawat artifact na ating natanaw, tila ba may tinig na bumubulong, mga paalala mula sa nakaraan na nagsasabing, huwag niyo kaming kalimutan. Ang museo ay hindi lamang para sa mga nakalipas. Ito'y para rin sa atin ngayon at sa mga susunod na salinlahi. Dito natin tunay na nadarama ang ugat ng ating pagkatao. At dito rin natin na ipapasa sa kabataan ang halaga ng ating kultura. Kung tunay nating mahal ang ating bayan, paano natin ito maiingatan kung hindi natin kilala ang ating pinagmulan? Sa mga mamamayan, kami ay nananawagan. Huwag lamang magpakulong sa virtual na mundo. Pumasok kayo sa museo. Pakinggan niyo ang mga kwento sa likod ng bawat artifact. Damhin niyo ang tugong tumataloy sa ating kasaysayan. At sa inyong pagbisita, tandaan niyo, hindi lamang ito simpleng paglalakad sa isang bulwagan. Ito ay isang paglalakbay papalik sa ating kasaysayan. Isang pagkakataon upang muling buhayin ang ating pagkakakilanlan. Ito ang kayamanang higit pa sa ginto, sapagkat ito ang ating alaala, ating ugat, at ating pagkatao.